Well, there is never a dull moment here in Castle Coliseum, as shortly Mike Young will be sitting in this chair giving his post-game presser after Virginia Tech finishes their game against Jacksonville. But before that, we went down to the football practice field and took in practice as Virginia Tech prepares to take on Duke this Saturday. And while this is the practice peak, it might have to be called the injury informational, because that's all the takeaways pretty much we have from practice today. First off, the largest point and topic of concern, quarterback Kyron Jones was not out there in the open media portion. Now, we talked to Coach Pry after, and he said Kyron came out for the team portions and got team reps there at the end that we didn't get to see, but he really mentioned how he's been bouncing back and forth between rehab and treatment all week. Not a great sign here on Wednesday for him to be that limited. Colin Schley, though, Coach Pry also mentioned he's not gimpy at all. Looks to be good. And we saw that in practice. In the skeleton drills and those reps, Schley looked good. So he was taking those first-team reps, followed by Pop Watson. Now shifting over to the running back position, a couple injury notes. Starting off, Coach Pry did rule out Malachi Thomas, the running back for the Duke contest. He will not play. He had a boot on his right foot at practice. He also didn't play in their last game against Clemson. Freak incident, don't know the injury, but that's all Coach Pry gave us. And then shifting to Bashal Tutin, haven't seen him really in his full capacity since before that Syracuse game. He looks good out there. He was still in blue, moving around pretty good. But, I mean, like we said, I think we're going to have to wait till Saturday and see at Duke. There were a couple weeks there where we thought he'd be full go or ready to go, and he wasn't. Coach Elijah Brooks, as well as Coach Pry, pretty much listed as a game-time decision with him. Now bouncing back, a couple of guys that Coach Pry said probably won't see the field this year. The return specialist, wide receiver Tucker Holloway, who's been dealing with that knee injury. He was out there practicing in pads, but it's just sort of a deal to work him back to full go. As well with true freshman Andrew Hanchuk, the defensive lineman, who we haven't seen. He came in with a leg injury, and he's been banged up, but he was out there practicing in pads, as Coach Pry said. A couple other guys, safety Jalen Jones, as well as linebacker Jaden Keller, were out there in blue. Coach Pry sounded pretty hopeful and like those guys were probable. It's just a type deal where you don't want to re-injure or anything or get banged up heading into the week. You're 13 weeks into the season. You get bumps and bruises. You just want to make sure those guys can make it to Saturday. And then lastly, closing out with star Gabe Williams. Obviously had the tragic injury and whole incident at the Clemson game. Coach Pry did confirm that he has had surgery, but his father is still in the hospital in Roanoke. So make sure to keep your prayers and thoughts with Gabe Williams through this process. Those are all the updates on the practice peak this week. Make sure to stay tuned into VTScoop.com. We'll have some hoops coverage tonight following the Jacksonville game and a bunch of recruiting intel coming down the stretch here for signing day. Transfer portal's right around the corner. A lot of good stuff going to be coming out over there. I'll be at Duke this weekend, so we'll have all the coverage from Durham. Make sure to stay tuned in until then. But for now, I'm Kolby Crawford, signing out from Blacksburg, Virginia. We'll see you next time.